Good day, esteemed colleagues, legal scholars, scientists, and professionals attending the third annual scientific conference of the Central European Academy held in Budapest, Hungary. My name is Nelly Helen Ebruka, and I am a Ph.D. student in politics at the University of Manchester. Unfortunately, I am unable to join you in person, but I'm excited to have this opportunity and I thank the organizers. I'll be sharing my paper on how regionalism can empower emerging space countries to shape international space law. In the next few minutes, I'll discuss how regional cooperation can help emerging space nations have a stronger voice in the development of space law. In international relations, regionalism has grown increasingly important as countries within specific regions form alliances to strengthen their security, political, and economic interests. This collaboration allows states to pool resources, share expertise, and collectively address challenges or ambitions, whether they are economic in nature or environmental, scientific, etc. The space sector, as we all know, is growing very fast, but it is also incredibly competitive, it is congested, and it is contested, as often described by industry experts. The Cold War led to the dominance of established spacefaring nations, the US and the USSR, and the alliances. It was in this time that the current legal regime governing space activities were shaped. But as more countries develop space capabilities in other regions like Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, regional cooperation is becoming more crucial in helping these emerging players influence their capabilities in the space industry and also regulations governing space. International space law as an academic parlance is a complicated term, but it is unarguably that it includes treaties such as the Outer Space Treaty, the Rescue Agreement, the Liability Convention, and the Moon Treaty. These treaties and agreements were created to ensure the peaceful use of outer space. However, the reality is that the space sector generally is still a very unequal playing field. Emerging countries find themselves at a disadvantage because the existing framework tends to favor those countries with the most advanced space technologies. For example, there are controversies and scholars argue that the way satellite orbits are allocated, which works on a first-come, first-served basis and policy of the ITU, places the countries with advanced technology at an advantage over those that are still emerging or have low space capabilities. This makes it hard for newer players in the industry to access, resources. Similarly, there are also disputes surrounding agreements like the Moon Treaty, which was initially supposed to promote fair use of lunar resources, but have been largely ignored by major spacefaring nations. For emerging space countries, therefore, forming regional alliances can help them negotiate better access to resources, improve their technological capabilities, and have collective voice in international forums where space law is crucially discussed. In fact, regional space organizations have the power to influence international space law by acting as a unified bloc, advocating for the needs of emerging countries and ensuring that space governance is more inclusive and more equitable. Now, this point of view draws inference from critical legal theory, which argues that space governance has been shaped by the interest of developed Western countries, and this can be seen as an extension of neocolonial structures where the most powerful nations control not just the Earth but space as well. Emerging space countries, especially from the global south, have often been left out of the important decision-making processes regarding the development of space law due to their late arrival in the industry. This has led to both a policy space gap and a technology space gap, and This is why space governance, to be more equitable, scholars have argued that the voices of these emerging countries have to be amplified. My argument is that regionalism offers a way to accomplish that. By working together, these countries can push for reforms in space governance that reflect their needs and priorities as a bloc. There are already examples of how regional cooperation has been successful in the space sector. The European Space Agency is one of the best models of a very successful regional space organization. Through ESA, European nations have collaborated to pool resources and develop advanced space technologies for the benefit of Europe, which individual countries on their own might not be able to accomplish, which shows the power of collective effort. But in terms of governance and policies and regulation, we can see the European Code of Conduct for Outer Space Activities. While not adopted internationally, it has influenced global discussions on space sustainability. There are other new regional agencies that are beginning to gain more and more importance in the space industry, such as the Asia Pacific Regional Space Agency, the African Space Agency, and others. These organizations, and some of them are still in their initial budding stage, some of them are more like forums and not really established body. They are looking for ways to strengthen regional cooperation in space for the purpose of ensuring that member countries can have a greater representation in international space forums and ensuring that these countries aren't left behind. The key argument is that regions would have more normative influence in shaping international space governance reforms than individual countries without space capabilities would. I do concede that there are challenges with this model. Regionalism can sometimes lead to fragmented policies where different regions develop their own rules and regulations. And within a region, for example, not all countries will have the same level of technological capability or political priorities, which can make collaboration difficult. But despite these challenges, I believe that the benefits of regionalism outweighs the drawbacks. Emerging space countries have more to gain by working together than individually, because sharing resources, expertise, and bringing together their negotiating power, it increases their collective bargain in international forums, giving them stronger voice and allowing them to better shape space governance in a way that reflects their needs, not exactly as individual countries, but as a collective. As we look to the future, the role of emerging space countries in shaping international space law will only grow more important. Regionalism offers a way to balance global and regional interests, ensuring that space law becomes more inclusive and reflective of the needs of all nations, not just the most powerful one. We see that the farther we get from the Second World War, the debates on counter-space capabilities are growing. The concept of peaceful use has much lost its meaning, and the weaponization of space is becoming more absolutely terrifying by the day. If we want space exploration and space technologies to truly benefit all of humanity, then we need to create a framework where every country has a say. And I believe that regional alliances like those forming in Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Middle East will be a key factor in making this a reality. Thank you once again for allowing me to share my point of view. I look forward to hearing your feedback and your thoughts. And although I couldn't be there in person, I am happy to continue this discussion. And if you would like to connect further, please feel free to do so and reach out. Thank you. And I wish you all a wonderful conference.